me. You move in silence. You will not speak to me. You are a darkness, a total mystery. You are a nightmare fantasy. You are a taker, and you have taken. I cannot.
This is SchlockFest. Was that good? Take two. This is SchlockFest.
Now try it a little bit higher, a little higher
This is SchlockFest.
Now, like you're an old-time detective.
This is SchlockFest.
SchlockFest, bitches.
This just in SchlockFest.
Yeah, you got to bring that back, Ray. You
right.
used to bring
I used to do that all the time.
Yeah.
I haven't felt like doing, but now I did. Huh? Did you guys like that? That was a dad joke. You're welcome.
All right.
Yeah.
So now that we've established
this is SchlockFest. I'm Ray McGuff. The guy who's always over talking to me is Jean-Paul Mantilla. Say hi, Jean-Paul.
Hey, Jean-Paul.
We've got Aaron England on the leftical.
Hey, hi, he.
Leftical?
Yeah,
leftical.
The leftical. On my side, you're on the leftical.
Oh, okay.
On the rightical, we have Lisa Marie Lemonade.
And it's an honor to be on the rightical, let me tell you. That's usually where I am, too.
And bringing up the center curl. I ran out of them, Elliot.
That's all right.
Elliot Passantino. Those are my center.
Yep.
All right.
There you go.
This is SchlockFest. Up today, we're doing Tank Girl. Frank, bring us in on Tank Girl. Give us all
Tank
the deets.
Girl. All the deets. Well, I didn't prepare for this, but
Jesus, I did.
Okay.
Hold on. Jesus,
All right,
back to me.
wait. Before we start, I
okay.
just want to say, look at my beautiful new hat. I got a nice new hat.
Nobody gives a shit about your hat, man. I can't tell
Everybody
you
loves
this
this
enough.
hat.
Nobody fucking cares you got that hat for free as a promotion for a movie. Nobody cares.
Everybody cares. Look at my new hat. All right, cool. All right. So
you bring it in.
I'm gonna bring this in. So Tank Girl, 1994, 5. I forget.
95.
Five, yeah.
1995. Great movie. Lori Petty. Based off an amazing comic book.
Do we find this is something that's always stumped me, and I'm going to launch it out here. I'm going there. Do we find Lori Petty sexy? She gets on my goddamn nerves. I wonder for guys.
1995. 1995 Lori Petty,
movie.
Yes.
Depending on the movie in the context that Lori Petty's in.
Hey, I'll even say Point Break, Lori Petty.
Point Break. Yeah.
I'll go back. Lori Petty in the episode Speed Kills, Freddy's Dead.
I'll go forward. Wow. A League of Their Own.
Well,
Randy, why are you holding the mic so close to your mouth?
I don't know.
You sound like
the fucking mic. All right, so since I
can't talk over Jean-Paul, he yells. He's got a fucking like a gamer headset on.
You're cutting in just fine. Just if you can't hear yourself or whatever,
I can't hear myself.
You are at the right level with your mic where you're at. When you bring it up to your mouth, it's crazy.
It's too loud. Okay, I'm sorry.
But,
all right, so
go on, Jean-Paul.
I'm going to tell you why you hate this movie. You hate this movie because on our previous SchlockFest, I made you watch Freddy's Dead.
Another great
director of Freddy's Dead is Rachel Talalay, and Rachel Talalay also directed this movie, and that's why you hate it. So there's one of my fun facts for you. Another fun fact that I have for you on this to circle into the SchlockFest world. So Lori Petty was not the first choice for this role.
I would imagine so.
You know who was? You know what's Jerry Hollowell of the Spice Girls.
I was going to say the Spice Girl.
Why would that ever be the case?
So was Laura Beckham, as in the other Spice Girl.
Wow.
I wonder why Spice Girls. Ew.
Yeah. This was before they were even Spice Girls. And Baby Spice, apparently, but no one can actually confirm this. But basically, most of the Spice Girls were supposed to be in this because this is based off a British comic, and the creators wanted British women. And Rachel Talalay said, no. If I'm going to take this to a studio, because she originally tried New Line, and New Line's like, no, we don't want to do this. So MGM ended up doing this.
She was like, you know what we need is Malcolm McDowell and Ice-T and a kangaroo.
Hey, Malcolm
All
McDowell.
great elements.
Yeah.
Here's the greatest thing. Malcolm McDowell wanted to do this. He was the first choice, and he said, hell yes, right away.
Wow.
You know who said no first?
Lori Petty.
Lori Petty.
Wow.
That's right.
I wonder why. I wonder if she was like, hey, I was in like Point Break. You know, what's this?
No,
You know?
Yeah.
her big gripe about this was she didn't want to shave her head.
Oh,
It is a fucked up haircut, man.
It's
She
a
did
pretty
not want to
fucking-
shave her head.
It is. And it doesn't suit her,
And then
yeah.
they gave her the comics, and then she's like, okay, I'll shave my head for this.
I
Wow.
would have done it.
And can we clarify something? Because I wrote this down because I'm pretty sure this is what happened. I believe that this was her career killer.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it was.
Her
Look at
career's
Was,
dead?
I don't, yeah, she kind of faded
It's back
slowly
now.
out after
Yeah,
that.
but so she did Point Break, huge flick. She did A League of Their Own, Academy Award winning movie. She did
Oh,
this,
yeah. She was
and
in
it
that.
it was on a $25 million budget. It made $6 million
Yeah,
worldwide. She was box office poison after this.
Tank.
So
No way.
This didn't make a
Hey.
bunch of money. This
She
didn't
was
make
also
a
in
bunch
Free
of money
Willy, if
on,
you forgot that.
on
Yeah.
I did
DVD
get
or
that.
anything.
Who
No,
knows?
it was a bomb. It was
It was
like
a
you
bomb,
said,
yeah.
It killed her
Makes
career.
no
I remember
fucking
that
sense
very
to me,
vividly.
man.
Yeah.
I've loved this thing since the 90s.
So
I love it too. I love it. I think it's such a gem of a movie. It's so ahead of its time. I love the futuristic aspect of it. And I think it's like such a female empowerment movie. Yeah, I liked it, you know? And I think in the comic book, isn't she a lesbian, like straight up lesbian?
Yeah, the comic book is a lot
Probably.
more gnarlier than the movie.
And
Yes,
I'm
it is.
for
More
that. My
grittier.
brother was a comic book like perv, so I used to go sneak his, and like I remember like Silky Whip, Sex Was Her Power. It's like my favorite comic book ever. But like I remember seeing the Tank Girl original comics and thinking it was awesome. And I think they did a good job portraying the characters just like they did in the comic book.
That's
you know?
what I
They
was
look-
thinking. The way they
the comics
inserted
look
it,
cool.
the
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
they inserted it, it made me feel, without ever reading one of these comics, that they were trying to stay as true to the storylines and what happened
Right.
in those, because they
And
had
that was a
real
happy
specifics.
accident, actually.
I really wish,
Really?
yeah, I say I wish it was just a comic book movie like in the style of like Incredibles or something, like, I mean, obviously couldn't have done that CGI now, but or back then, but or one of the other cartoon type movies. It would have been better as a cartoon, I think. There's just too much goofy bullshit in this movie for that time period. It didn't come off
So
well.
I can answer all of that for you. So there is an hour and a half of this movie that's been missing.
Oh wow.
That was actually
Okay.
filmed. So Rachel Talalay directed this movie. When she brought it to the studio, it was almost a 2.5 hour movie. They said, cut it down. She said, I'm not going to. They basically said, okay, we'll find an editor. They cut a bunch of her scenes. So then they didn't know what to do with those scenes.
Wow.
So they went to the comic book guys that created the Tank Girl comic book, and they said, okay, insert animated scenes.
What? Wow.
Yeah, so all of those scenes that are
Right.
animated, some of those scenes were actually filmed, but they were like, it's just too much of the budget. So they decided to cut some of her stuff. This
Wow.
movie, if you like go behind the craziness that happened, it's absurd, because this movie wasn't supposed to be as silly as it was. It was supposed to be more serious take, like the comic book.
I think I would have liked that a little better.
And MGM said, no fucking way.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, my question is, did the comic book have kangaroo people in it?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
And
No,
they
I
actually have
totally
more
did.
sex in the comics than they do.
Yeah.
All I was thinking
Remember
was
that.
that now did MGM put out Frogtown? Hell Comes to Frogtown?
Yes, they did.
Okay. All I'm thinking is this has such strong Hell Comes to Frogtown vibes. That's why I liked it. That's why I'm surprised that you didn't like it so much, Randy, because I'm like, this is like a spiritual sequel to Hell Comes to
Oh,
Frogtown.
I had-
you didn't like it? What?
No, I didn't like it. I hadn't seen this movie since I was like
How could you
16.
not like it? It's got
I
everything.
just I was bored out of my mind through this whole thing. It was silly and goofy and not up my alley at all. I like the like I said, I like the inserted cartoon stuff. I thought that was really neat. I would have rather seen that movie. And I liked about, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes of the actual plot. But for a movie called Tank Girl, she sure as shit wasn't in a tank for very long. So
Budget.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the one girl, the fucking Cusack, the lost Cusack. I never heard of this woman before, but she's the sister of John and Joan.
Wow.
The one that plays what's she play? Sub Girl.
She's the is she the Australian?
She has like the red hair when they go back to they find her. She has some of their shit.
Oh my god, that's like another.
Yeah.
Who? I had no idea.
She speaks almost just like Joan.
Yeah.
But
That's crazy.
yeah.
And Anna Cusack is who you're thinking of.
Wow, who knew? That's nuts. I didn't even know that.
But she barely. I don't see it. She didn't have a sub at all, right? She was
No.
barely. She was trying to make
Again,
a boat. I think.
budget.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
budget.
Yeah.
You know,
$25 million in 1995 was a lot of money.
They
So,
probably gave most of it to Malcolm McDowell. I mean, really,
Yeah.
he was great.
And
He
well
does
deserved,
such a
too.
great job.
And you have an early appearance of Naomi Watts
Mhm.
Oh
Like
wow.
back when she still had her accent and was like way sexy in my
Can we-
opinion.
when she was Australian.
can we talk
she was
about
young
the
and she didn't know who she was, and she was still
And
coming
Iggy
into
Pop.
power.
Iggy Pop's in this
Iggy
movie.
Pop
Come
is
God damn
on.
it,
You
John
could
Paul.
end it right there.
Let Randy
arguably.
get in there before he has
That
a
was
stroke.
John Paul. That was mine. That was mine. I had it written down right here. Talk about Iggy Pop.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, Iggy Pop's thing. I was just like, I hadn't seen this since I was like 16 years old when I saw this the first time, and I was like, oh yeah, he plays a perv.
a
Makes perfect sense.
pedophile.
Yeah.
His name's Rat Face.
Rat face.
Rat-
The cast
Wow.
itself, the cast I thought was great. Lori Petty's Tank Girl, Naomi Watts as Jet Girl, Ice-T as
Yeah.
T Saint, the kangaroo mercenary ex-cop, whatever.
You know, he
Malcolm-
made $300,000. By the way, I read this article when I was
Yeah.
looking at some stuff for this. He said, I made $300,000 and bought my house on that movie. So he
Good for
didn't
him.
care if it did well or not.
But no, I don't care who you are. If someone asks you if you want to be like a badass kangaroo soldier,
Why do it? Sure. Second.
who's I don't care what the movie is. I don't care if they're calling it Princess Fucks the World or whatever. It doesn't matter.
I think that one's,
Princess
yeah,
does
we
fuck
should
the world.
trademark that one, and that should be our next
Yeah,
Tommy
all
Takeover
kangaroos.
movie.
But it's also got James Hong. He's
Yeah, from
celebrated
Big
character.
Trouble in Little China.
I don't know if he's in that one or not.
Yeah,
Is he?
doesn't he play the Asian guy that's after?
Mm.
You know,
He was
I don't
also in Seinfeld.
He was in yeah, he was in Seinfeld. He was in a lot of stuff.
know.
And Reggie E. Cathy.
Reggie Cathy,
Yeah.
famous Reggie Cathy.
You don't
Yeah,
remember?
Infamous Reggie Cat. What?
Oh my gosh. Pootie Tang, Fantastic Four.
Oh wow.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, I know you can't tell with the makeup, with the kangaroo makeup, but when you see him without the makeup, you're like,
Oh,
oh,
is
yeah,
he
that
the guy? Is he the guy that has like his ears pulled back?
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that's
Yeah,
him. Yep.
he's Pootie Tang. Is that?
he's been in so many things.
He was in a ton of movies.
But
yeah.
he's
Yeah.
the titular Pootie Tang, right?
no,
No,
he's
I
not,
think yeah, I don't think he plays Pootie Tang.
Oh.
no, he's not the Pootie Tang.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
not.
He's not.
the-
He's one of many. They go.
He's-
He has. He's one of Pootie Tang's helpers.
He's in
I
the
mean-
film Pootie Tang.
I
Yeah.
mean, one of the Rippers is Doug Jones.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, and Frank Welker just makes mouth sounds. I think I read in the credits, like he's just making, that's what he does anyways.
I mean,
What-
that's what he does.
Also, can we talk about the water baron aspect? How dumb that was.
Love it. I love that vampire knife that they have.
Yeah.
That just
You know
Yeah.
what's
I
you know what's
could've said-
crazy is
Yeah.
okay. This movie also came out the same year that fucking Waterworld came out.
does it better.
Nice.
Also, I
Which
believe.
one does it better? This
Water-
one.
This
World?
one. That vampire knife.
Shut
they-
up,
they
Randall.
stick it in
Shut
the
up,
people.
Randall.
They stick it in the people, and then it sucks their blood out and drain. That's a cool effect when
It
they're
turns
all
it into
drained.
water, and then,
And then they
Malcolm
drink
McDowell has a
it,
nice little
And
drink
then he
of it.
walks across glass. He's such an evil bastard. He needs
Wow.
to have one of those curly mustaches and a top hat. He's that kind of villain.
He's Malcolm McDowell.
There's only one thing in this movie I don't like, and it's that musical number that they do.
Oh, it's awful.
That's
I don't
like
remember.
from the.
How could you not like that? The
I-
part
I
that
I
agree.
hate musicals.
You don't love
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I hate musicals, and I hate them.
Every
when they're-
schlocky movie's got to have a musical
I
number,
know,
and
I
this
know
had
it's
it.
Especially
think
not a
it's so
1920s tune. Pull that shit out of your ass.
That's
Good
why
Lord,
I
who's
think
that
it's
for?
so unique, though. It's
Yeah.
such an choice song. That's why I love it. And for her, of all people singing it, that's like
you
the
lose
whole.
me. You lose me anytime you bring a song in.
Aaron, I'm
Fucking
glad you brought up that point because
Indiana Jones almost lost me at the beginning of Temple of Doom with that bullshit. But
okay, I'm glad you brought up that point. If you put this movie side by side with Sucker Punch, directed by one
Another great
Zack
one.
Snyder, they're so similar.
Yeah.
Sucker
being-
Punch is amazing, though.
I love Sucker Punch.
They're
That's like
basically the same movie, though.
It's great.
Crazy vignettes of action. That's all it is, with a giant music video. And that's what this movie is. Different music videos into one crazy mess.
the soundtrack itself
Is amazing.
makes up for anything
Yeah,
I could,
it's a good
makes up for that
soundtrack.
shitty song. I mean, it's like a
I
90s.
love that song. I can't believe you don't like that part. I'm shocked
Yeah.
you don't like that part. It's
I-
such
I-
a good part.
I mean, I don't like any music from 1920. So if you're, I don't want it. I don't want it.
That was great. He just sounded like
Hello,
every
my
song was
baby.
funny.
I don't want that.
That was good. That was
Break
good.
time, baby.
It's hard enough to even get me to listen to like Leonard Skinner or something. I mean, when you start hitting them weird 70s tracks, you know,
What you need more?
Yourself.
God and Satan.
always more God, get him,
God and Satan.
get that out of here. What kind of weird bipolar music are you listening to? It's all Satan all the time.
What
Oh, it's
kind
all
of-
Satan was
That what are you
mine.
listening to, Jean Paul? You're over there.
Uh,
Praise the Lord.
I just
Also
told
hail
you.
Satan.
I listened to an instrumental version of March of the Black Queen before I came on. So
What's that? What's March of the
That's
Black Queen?
interesting.
yeah,
What's March of the Black Queen?
and March of the Black Queen. It's a Queen song actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love
Boy, I
anything
put
and everything done by Queen. That's a wonderful thing to listen to. I can't believe that of all things. Why would you listen to that? I love that you're listening to
He's
that.
a deep
Well,
cut
I'm
Queen
a
guy.
huge Queen fan, and
Yeah.
I was going through YouTube, and I'm like, somebody has an instrumental of this. Yes,
Is there a Queen song you don't like, John Paul?
there is several Queen songs
Because
I don't
I
like.
put a greatest hits on my playlist, and I took like 3 or 4 of them fuckers off there because one of them was like real weird. It was like almost country a little bit. I don't know.
That's probably 39.
It's
Like,
it's
he's got one that's
86
got like a
in my fucking
1960s
playlist.
feel to it.
I mean,
But-
there is. I can tell you this. I'm not a fan of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Me
Oh.
either. That's the
Wow.
big
know,
ones.
Yeah, I don't
Bicycle
really-
Race.
yeah.
I'm not into.
Oh, I
really.
love Bicycle Race. It's
I
a
went-
silly song.
Killer Queen.
The game. That album, The Game, has a
It's
lot
good
of good
album.
songs on it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this isn't Queen talk. I
Yeah.
mean, because I'll go nerd out.
Queen talk.
Yeah.
Queen
Yeah,
song.
you don't
Let's
want
talk
him to
about
get
Queen.
started. You're like, did you know that Brian May?
Did you know they released 5 new songs on an old
Right.
album?
But Brian May, which a lot of people don't even know, and even Tom Morello didn't know this when my friend is one of his partners. Brian May and Eddie Van Halen did a album which was the soundtrack of a
Starfleet.
science fiction pilot called
Starfleet.
Starfleet. Holy shit, he gets a prize. He's one of the only people in the entire world,
I'm
other
telling
than
you.
my brother,
You
that
don't
knows about this
understand
album.
how much money I spent on a bootleg
Yep.
CD to get it, and then
Yeah.
they finally released the album, and then they finally re-released it. I love it. There is a what is it? It's called Blues Battle. That is
Yeah.
a 45-minute song.
It is
That
sick.
is just just
It's
them riffing.
ridiculous. My
It's
brother has the
amazing.
vinyl. My brother has the vinyl.
It's
that
one
came out
side of vinyl
inside.
of them just riffing, and it's
Yeah.
amazing.
It's
If John
ridiculous.
Paul was around when Freddie Mercury was coming up and he would have been friends with him, he would have been his concubine. That's how much he likes the guy.
I mean,
Who
maybe.
wouldn't have? Who wouldn't have? My
I
goodness.
mean,
Yeah.
who wouldn't?
Who
He would have been
wouldn't?
like, yes, Freddie.
Mercury.
Yes, Freddie. We hang out with midgets all the time.
I've got your golden cock hold thing ready. Whatever it is. Tripod.
Starfleet. That's a deep cut.
A cock
That's a deep cut.
tripod.
There you go. No, I do love Queen. Yeah.
That's pretty
I-
cool.
I do too. I'm a huge Queen fan, so I'm glad to
Yeah.
know that I have somebody that we can share that love of Queen together. 'cause
Oh,
yeah.
I love Freddie Mercury's and like his solo stuff he did before he died in Geneva
Oh.
or wherever it was. I love all that. I love everything.
This is
he did.
spiraling, Randy. Randy.
Yeah, so anyways.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Fine.
Why
We'll
not?
go back
I
to the
don't know.
soundtrack here. Bjork,
Yeah.
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 Paul,
Yeah, let's
It's a great sound. This is one of the coolest soundtracks. Okay, so this soundtrack, I'm gonna tell you, this one and The Crow were the ones I had on replay in my house. Like this soundtrack and The Crow, because this was one of the best ones ever. You know what I mean? And it had such weird music.
The Crow soundtrack is amazing. Yes.
Oh my god, the Crow
Both
soundtrack.
the first two.
But if
I
I'm not
don't-
mistaken, I think Kangaroo had a whole song too, didn't it? I could be mistaken on
Well,
that.
this
Yes.
album,
Yeah.
album was produced by Hole.
Yeah, okay. And see, I was a huge Courtney Love fan
Yeah,
back
Courtney
in the day.
Love
Oh my
produced this
God.
album for this soundtrack.
Well,
Wow.
Frank, do you have the list there of what was on it?
Oh,
I
no,
remember it
can
was a
pull
good.
up,
I
yeah.
like the soundtrack better than the movie.
It's not a lot. There's not a terribly long list of songs on it.
It was a good soundtrack. I remember that much.
It's not terrible or anything. Yeah, it was pretty
For
good.
the 90s,
especially-
in
Blur,
1995.
yeah, it's a nice time.
Blur is
capsule.
on here.
I think
Are you
Ice-T
looking at it,
was
Ray?
Ice-T.
I'm
had one
I'm
song?
gonna go look for it right now.
Okay, you got
So you got Ice-T,
Bjork.
you got Blur,
Yeah.
Porpoise Head, which is another
Yeah.
good
Devo.
band.
Okay, so
Belly.
it's
Yeah.
all coming back.
Devo.
Yeah, great music, great music.
Veruca Salt, L7. This is like 90s.
This is good shit
yeah.
though. Son. Yeah.
Yeah.
L7. Wait, L7. Y'all remember that?
L7, they're on the
L7.
Garden
Paul
State
Westbrook.
soundtrack. Yeah.
Portishead.
And Joan Jett. I mean, Bush.
Good soundtrack.
I was gonna say Bush for sure is on there because I
Yeah, so
recognize
it's
that.
great soundtrack. I mean, this is also a movie that when I worked at Blockbuster and people that I did not like that would annoy the piss out of me, I would be like, "Hey, have you seen Tank Girl?" They're like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "You know that girl
Boy.
from A League of Their Own?"
Yeah.
Here you go.
That wouldn't have got me. But if you were like, "Hey,
That's
I
when I
see the
got it.
kangaroo in this," I would have been like, "Yeah, that's
Frank's
fine."
like, oh, yeah.
Kangaroo song.
I would have probably bothered the hell out of you, John Paul. I'd be in there. That was so good. What else you got?
I would have given you like, you know, full what is it? Full Moon's repertoire there.
Have you
it
seen
was-
Flash Gordon?
Full Moon, anything and everything, please.
Yeah.
The kangaroos, though, they remind me. What was that? It was a movie or a TV show that was all like kung fu kangaroos, like that looked just like this sort of. Do you remember what that was
What?
called? God
Yeah,
damn it.
not off the top of my head.
Kung Fu Kangaroo?
It sounds like
Yeah.
the most awesome show I have
They
ever
look
heard.
almost
You need to do
exactly
this show.
like. God damn it! I have to search it up now.
Yeah, like Kung Fu Kangaroos. Why am I
Kung
missing
Fu
out on that?
Kangaroo. I'm in.
I mean, there's the kangaroo movie with Jerry O'Connell.
No,
Kangaroo
That's
Jack?
all
Kangaroo, you're
Jack.
thinking Kangaroo Jack.
That's
No,
horrible, right?
I'm not. I'll never get it. I've got too many things going on my computer here. Kangaroo movie, action movie.
90s.
I don't remember that. Why don't I remember that?
I just found Warriors of Virtue,
Oh,
Oh, vaguely. Yeah.
I vaguely remember that too.
1997.
Yes.
Fucking
Yeah, it had the
2
kangaroo with
hours,
the Shaolin.
2 hours
like,
and
dress
11
on.
minutes.
you know what's crazy is I believe that
What
movie's
the
also an
fuck?
MGM movie, so they probably just borrowed some of the costumes.
Yeah.
You know
Oh,
what?
makes sense. Yeah, probably.
You can watch it on Pluto right now. It's got an 18% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That don't mean shit.
No,
I
Rotten
do
Tomatoes.
remember
That
that.
man's
again,
got less than
Blockbuster.
50.
I do remember seeing that at Blockbuster, Warriors of Virtue. I remember seeing that box. I don't think I rented it, but I remember being
Nah.
like,
Yeah.
I
You,
think here's a weird thing. I think one of the kids from Three Ninjas is in that movie.
Ah,
remember.
okay.
Probably.
As
Yeah.
a kangaroo or as a kid.
I think it's a kangaroo. Yeah,
that's a kangaroo.
That's a kangaroo.
It's a
kangaroo.
weird
Hey,
Schlockfest
maybe we should
episode
do
here.
that for Schlockfest. The Warriors.
The
Yeah.
weird kangaroo cult movie marathon.
That's right. So back
Let's
to this
talk-
movie. Let's
Yeah, I was
go,
gonna say,
Randy.
Let's
go
talk
back.
about some of the highlights of the movie itself.
All right.
I actually liked the assault on the orphanage that they live in or whatever. You know,
Mm.
that's what I kept because it made me laugh a couple of times, especially with just how many times they shot her boyfriend.
Oh my.
Like they emptied an entire machine gun clip in this guy who had no shirt on and was high. He
Well,
had
before
no-
that even happens,
Yeah.
the funniest thing ever is how long that dude sits there and like watches her cut her pantyhose with scissors. And
Yeah.
he's just like sitting there, and well, everybody in this movie wants to fuck her for some goddamn reason. It's like this whole 90s, like this 90s rapey thing that used to be in
Yeah.
all the movies. Like
Yeah.
every movie in the 90s and like late 80s all the guys wanted to fuck every girl. It was like a walking hard-on situation, and really confused a lot of young men, I feel, that are walking around in America nowadays with
And for some of us, it prepared us for the long journey of life. Because that's what we're trying to do in some way. Tank Girl was an illustration of what was to come, So yeah.
That's
I remember
right.
watching it with my parents, like talk about an awkward. We rented it at Blockbuster, okay? I rented it because we like kids got to rent a movie and the adults would rent a movie. So they rented this movie called A Man of No Importance. Y'all ever heard of that?
Yeah.
It's like an Oscar Wilde inspired love story, but like I was watching it with my parents and it was like gay, sexy, and holy shit, oh my God, what is that? And I'm like, I had been exposed to stuff, but not exposed to that. So like that segued into let's watch Tank Girl, which like in the beginning scene, there's like a forced almost blowjob, and she says something like, I'm gonna need a microscope or something to take it out or something. And I'm like 15 going, holy shit, what the hell? And
he says like, if I
my
feel
parents are
any
like,
teeth, what's he say?
Like,
If I feel any
shit is
teeth,
this? But I loved it. Yeah, something like that. And she's like, I'm gonna need a magnifying glass and like some tweezers because it's so small. And I was like 15, little virgin. I'm like, that's hilarious. She got him, But yeah, it was like it was an illustration of what I would say because there's a part where she's like in a strip club type thing. And she's like, they have the stripper, like the look that they want her to go, and she does the opposite and rebels, So it speaks of feminism, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I think it was ahead of its time. I really do. I'm surprised you like it, Aaron. Have you ever watched it with your kids, or is that too much? Out of curiosity.
Oh no, I've just it's hard to find. I would have probably watched it already.
Yeah.
No, I've watched this movie more than any other movie that I think we've ever reviewed on any podcast. I used to rent this
like
all
Aaron
the time. Like whenever you're 14, 15 and you don't have anything to do but watch movies, I'm pretty sure this was in the VHS 50 cent 2 for $1 rental 7 days.
Yeah, it was in the rotation.
It definitely was. Yeah.
Well, this was a Blockbuster, one of those that they had so many of.
Yeah,
we didn't have a Blockbuster, but
this is my video.
Like I would rent this.
No, we had Bennett's video.
I would rent this because I love Frogtown. That's a good movie to me. Post-apocalyptic, weird punk rock girl with kangaroo soldiers, the tanks, the whole fucking thing. Malcolm McDowell is not a gray area villain. He's one of those very much, I'm a villain. This is what I'm doing. Ha ha ha. I'm walking on glass. He's walking on broken glass, Randy.
Yeah, just like the song says.
walking on.
I just love it, man. It's dumb as fuck. It's stupid. It's pizza schlock. It's my style.
Okay, so Randy,
garbage.
okay, I have to ask, this or barbed wire?
Barbed wire. Barbed wire all day.
Fuck barbed wire.
What? Really?
I don't like that one at all. I don't like Pamela Anderson. I think she got her tits got her so many jobs.
I think barbed wire is a more fun action movie than this, in my opinion.
See, I disagree. I think this is more fun in terms of
barbed wire. I remember being so bored, and Tank Girl, I probably was stoned Blockbuster rental during the day. I remember during the day, at least I was laughing and enjoying, but barbed wire was horrible.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, at the time, at the time, I think it was like Pamela Anderson was like hot property at that time.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh my God, she's gonna be naked. And then I don't even think she was she?
Like
she
was topless.
Depending on which version of the VHS you got. There's the unrated and the R-rated one.
And
I had the unrated.
The movie, if I remember right, wasn't even like that much action that happened.
No, that's the whole point. That's why I said I think this movie is more entertaining, has more action, and is an all around better movie.
Oh, okay.
Even shot better.
Yeah, the characters to me are more engaging. The story, I'm more engaged in the story. And barbed wire, like the plot was kind of dumb. Let's be real. Yeah, this plot is one I can get behind. I love the whole. I mean, I don't know. Are they? I can't remember if they're like on another planet or it's post-apocalyptic, right?
Post-apocalypse, some crap.
I kind of like. I dig that. I dig that in a movie because that feeling of like it's gonna sound crazy, but like isolation. Because it's the future.
It's done right,
if it's done right, it's done in a really claustrophobic.
But for me, as a person who doesn't like, comic book movies at all, really, per se, this is what I would like comic book movies to be. This is my like 1989 Batman
I
type
can see that,
schlocky
yeah.
shit, man. It's like it's so like I like all those early Batmans, I guess. Like the ones that everybody hates, those fucking ones that everybody's like, God, Jim Carrey's so stupid as Riddler. Give me more of that.
I
That's
like
my
that
shit.
one is the one with I love Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, and I'm like the
Yeah.
only one who's like, does no one not see the beauty of that role and her executing? Because like I was
Yeah.
obsessed with that when I was a kid, and she became my hero. Probably on a deeper level that I didn't understand until I hit puberty. But I mean, that movie to me was very poignant because of that, and I don't get why people don't appreciate that one. Because Michael Keaton as Batman was so cool too. By the way, he talked like this all the time.
Young. That's all I have to say. Should have been Catwoman.
I think that's why I like those what's the fucking raccoon movies? Guardians.
Those are good.
Those are good for me.
Yeah.
I have fun. I have fun time.
I haven't seen one of those.
It's because I think it's anthropomorphic animals. I need more of that in a superhero movie. I also need some humor, a lot of humor, man, because it's all dumb when they take it so serious and it's like you're fucking shooting dinosaurs with a laser beam. There's a fucking guy that grows. Like if it's gonna be dumb, just go full dumb. Don't try to get all serious and make me cry at a fucking superhero movie. I like pro wrestling though, so anyways, Jean Paul, keep us on track. Where were we at in this thing?
So anyways, so we're talking about the schlockiness and action of this movie. Randy, you still say no, right? In terms of like,
he might have been in the wrong headspace.
I like that part. I mean, the couple of parts I had action. I don't care about this movie. I didn't want to watch it. That was my whole thing.
Okay.
I had no intent. I had no like desire to fucking track this down and watch it. And I had to watch it for this.
So you're saying what
you let us know he didn't want to do earlier, John Paul. He wanted to play Far Cry 4.
What you're saying to me is I won, right? Like I always do. I win because that's the whole point of this show is to piss you off.
I like 90s movies and I throw them in once in a while and I go, I remember a specific time in my life through this movie. Okay. So if I just look at it just through that lens, sure. It was fine, I guess, because I remember 1995 had a lot of great movies. I went to the theater a lot that year. And, and then when it came out on video, I rented it like everybody did, even though I didn't care. I would put it on play and do other stuff like most people play PlayStation, and stuff. But I don't like as a movie. No, I don't think this is good. I don't know how anybody with a straight face could go, yes, this was a good movie. I didn't have fun watching it again, and I probably will never watch it again.
That's funny.
I picture this is all I picture. People that enjoy this movie are over here riding on a roller coaster, just going, "Yeah, motherfucker, this is full blown dumbass kangaroo shit." And then Randy's sitting over there reading a newspaper, peeking over it, going, "Sorry, I'm trying to read an article over here."
Your makeup for your kangaroo is terrible. Sorry, go on.
Okay.
But
so you have notes, right? So what else did you like, Randy?
I ran through most of my notes here.
Okay.
I said Malcolm McDowell's The Water Baron was funny to me, but it was ridiculous. I thought there was a part, guys. The girl that fixes everything is sitting in this like spaceship or airplane.
Jet. It's a jet. She's jet girl.
Okay.
She's jet girl.
Yeah, she's jet girl. All right. And she's fixing something, and she takes a wrench and has wires and does this. And I was just like, I can see that. There was nothing. She wasn't doing anything. It was pointless nonsense bullshit. Like completely. It was just silly horse shit, guys. I love
how you want that to make sense in this.
No, movie. I'm just saying, like, there's all this.
You wasn't even working on the goddamn plane right.
But yeah, there's all this stuff in this movie that should make me mad. The terrible, special effects. The makeup was awful. But the girl taking the wrench and going to the like, I was like, what is she doing? Why did you have this part? It just didn't make any sense to me. I don't know. it's the whole movie, guys. There's movies that are good and movies that are bad, and this is not a good movie.
Okay.
And
So, that's all I gotta say.
And if anybody wants to know that list, Randy's the arbiter of good taste. So send him a direct message. Ask him if the thing you're thinking about watching is good or bad.
That's right.
If he says
tell him
no,
yay or nay.
I'm sorry. I have hundreds of people comment on my Facebook post for my movies.
We know.
Movie stuff. So.
We know.
I don't know. It's like the 90s for me. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff that happens that was too ahead of its time, and I think like Aaron was saying, and John, like there was some cool, like they took some shots with Tank Girl. They were like very official adaptations from comic books people didn't even know about, and I think there's a lot of stuff to appreciate. But at the same time, it's like there's a lot of stuff in the 90s that like they just didn't have the recipe,
the technology
yet, and it's still like a lot of errors that we finally figured out in the 21st century. Like, oh, this is how we do that right and whatever. But at the same time, for me, Waterworld, I love Dennis Hopper. I fucking hate that movie. I've tried to watch Waterworld so many times. I hate it. I'll take Tank Girl. And The Crow, I'm sorry. I respect everything about it, but I don't feel anything for The Crow. I don't feel a thing. I've never connected with that movie emotionally. And I know that'll make me a pariah, but I don't get it. And really, it never did anything for me, that movie.
Well,
it's Batman for gods.
So Lisa, what's your thoughts on Tank Girl?
Oh, I love it. I think it's horrible. It's a horrible movie. It's like it's so horrible it's good, and for me it brings back that happy place of like 95, watching movies from Blockbuster with my mom and dad. Smoking weed for the first time, that type of stuff, and like watching it stoned and being like, what the fuck am I watching? And like it just being like, that's what it is. To me, it's like you don't take it seriously, you don't look for you just have fun with it. You got Ice-T, you got fucking kangaroo people, you got lesbian undertones. Like I do remember that and being like, what is all this not? Like I was very intrigued by that because I don't know if you guys pick up on like the lesbian undertones in the movie, but there's quite a few.
Oh yeah.
So
they're kind of hitting you over the head with it at one point.
And for me being like a young girl, and like, kind of having like my awakening, so to say, and like watching that during a girl sleepover party, it was like, oh, wow, like, okay, let's Lori Petty the night, it's one of those movies. It brings back that 90s, nostalgia for me. And I can appreciate it's horrible, and that's why I like it, if that makes sense.
That's kind of like that time that remember that time, Randy, that me and you watched Brokeback Mountain, and I was like, I looked over you, and I was like,
right, hey, and I grabbed your shirt, and I was like, I just can't quit you, dude.
I said, we can't do this. We can't do this.
You're like, I'm married.
No, he didn't.
Now, Randy, can you respect that this movie had practical effects? Who always wants practical.
I love practical effects. Even when they fail, I prefer them.
Yeah.
So yes.
Because if this movie was made now, this movie would have been CGI.
It'd be a George Lucas cartoon.
The thing, what you liked Frogtown, man?
I do. I know. I'm saying I have bad taste.
This is Kangaroo Town.
I like Frogtown. I do not like this. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. I wish I did.
I like stuff that people don't like all the time, so I'm used to it.
I gotta say too, I use a lot of quotes from this movie. Also, like my mom and your mom were hanging out close, things like that. Like I use a lot of weird, odd quotes that he says in them for no apparent reason, and I will blurt those out in my life, and have since seen the movie. So I don't know what weird. Yeah,
I do that with Con Air.
That's a great. I just saw that at the gym again.
See, this movie has its cult status.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely has its cult status. Like most SchlockFest movies, they have their own kind of cult status. So I think because of when this movie came out, and I think Elliot, you touched on it. You had these movies of comic book fame, yay or nay, whatever. They came out in the 90s and then into the 2000s, whatever, and people kind of forget these like smaller comics or these smaller properties that a big studio like MGM just said, okay, we're going to take a try, because they shopped this around. They went everywhere. I mean, Richard Talley, who directed this movie, like I said, she grew up in New Line because she was a producer on the first Nightmare on Elm Street and then directed Freddy's Dead. So she went through all of that, and not even her parents, so to speak, of New Line said they passed.
Wow, that's awesome.
she went through all that learning and still didn't learn much. That's
Yeah, there
crazy.
you go. You know what? You know what she's currently doing? She's directing shows like Doctor Who, The Flash, a lot of
Makes
superhero
sense.
shows.
Good for
Makes
her.
sense.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That new Lois and Clark show that you like, Randy?
I do like that one. That's very good.
She's directed. Watch, look at her IMDb. She's directs
Hey.
I
most of
give
those
anybody
episodes.
to survive in this business, no matter what. That's amazing. Good for her. I'm glad
Yeah.
she's still going.
After 20 years, she finally made something I liked.
And here's the kicker: she also has her own master class in directing.
Oh boy.
Hey,
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. That's
So-
but it's like you said, it's like so many of those movies then and even today we're seeing, like from this moment, Tank Girl to the Snyder Cut. There's so much studio interference and like, you know, it's like even like this movie again. I remember it was like kind of off, but I did enjoy Tank Girl. But it's like, yeah, the backstory. We didn't even know the backstories at the time. There's no internet. But it's like probably there's so many movies that were like kind of okay, but they fucked that up. And it wasn't the director, it wasn't the writer, it was the stupid studios. And they did it, you know, The Shadow was supposed to be Sam Raimi, and you know, that real version was butchered. And you know, it's like there's so many comic book movies that were just it was the studio just ruined. Like,
you guys are gonna hate me, but I like the Shadow movie.
No, so do I. But it was supposed to be Sam Raimi, and there's supposed to be a lot more even to the final version that came out, and they just chopped it up, and it's just, you know, it's not even what I think Alec Baldwin signed on to do. You know, it's supposed to be a much better movie.
But you're right. It's like they haven't learned anything. They still butcher. Like, what would a 2.5 hour cut of this movie be? Would it have been better? Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
Probably.
But yeah,
More serious.
We'll never get to know, because some asshole who has no care in the world about the actual property itself came in and said, make this more, but there's got to be more tits in this. Okay. Make this dance number, cut this out, put cartoons in. Okay?
Randy, what if I have a copy of the? No, I'm just messing with you.
And I would watch it because now I'm curious.
Oh, wow.
I'd like to see it.
That's the problem. Most of the people that are producers that can fund these kind of things are really weird people, because
they are. I've worked with all of them.
So,
you know, right?
I mean, when they want to come in and put a fucking metal spider in your thing, like the Wild Wild West, like that story from, was it Kevin Smith told that story?
Kevin Smith, the robot spider.
Yeah, and then
That's
there it was.
Another fiasco. Yeah,
there it was in Wild Wild West years later.
Because it's funny to me, Frank and I have made 2 independent movies, and they're both like the one's okay, the other one's okay too. You know, they're okay for what they are. They're $0 budgets. They're just people donating their time on scripts that we wrote.
They're good.
And they're fun to watch, because as you're watching them, you know that we actually cared about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we were the ones involved. Frank edited it, but we shot exactly what we wanted, and nobody came in and said, fuck that, do it this way, you know? And so every time I watch it, I'm like, I hope that's how people feel when they get.
And even without fucking interference, Randy, the first one, how many things fell apart, didn't go right, had to be restructured. But of course, we were trying to
shoot turned into like 10 hours. That's how much.
to get like a 12-minute short.
I mean, I'm working on my 8th now. At least Marie's a part of, and it's like at this point, it's like I've had ups and downs, and I won Slam Dance in September for one of my horror movies. But it's like, it's a tough business. And it's like making this movie now. I'm like, you know what? At least I'm getting to do whatever I want with this. Like, where if I got this script or the Slam Dance script to somebody, it's like we were talking about. Somebody might completely butcher it, and I might be like, fuck, okay, I'll take the $100,000 to make this movie. But I might not even be able to get to do what I want to do with it, because you have some more.
What happens though is that's really what happens though. So you have a movie that you have, like, because I remember specifically the story about the Shining and the guy not liking the movie's portrayal, as with, I mean, Stephen King, like in the book, you know, because he had a lot of things different in the book than was portrayed in the film. So I guess he doesn't like it. So if you write a movie and like a big producer comes in, that's what they do. They come in and they want to interject their own stuff.
Let's say you own a Chili's, and then somebody comes in and buys it, or you're the manager of a Chili's, right?
Yeah.
Somebody comes in and
analogy
buys that
for
franchise. And then they're like, all right, you know, we're a Chili's, but now everybody's wearing fucking bulletproof
Chili's
vests
outfit.
every day.
Okay, got it.
Like,
all
they
right,
can change anything they want, you know, like, it's just
so then this product gets put out that isn't authentic to who you are. Then that's scary. Though.
I mean, I don't know a lot
hard,
about the general Hollywood structure of things, but from my perspective, a producer in general is a decision maker, or a person that coordinates things, but also provides a good chunk of money to get that sort of seat. or
right. And
has
so
the
they feel,
credentials
and
to
Elliot,
land
you probably have a little bit more insight, but yeah, then they feel like they have a power over you at that point, right?
Yeah, it's like, again, I've done everything from Warner Brothers, being an extra, to Warner Brothers PA for whatever that show is. I forget. It takes place in the 80s. And to like so many independent films. Like, again, at least like 19 years on independent films as a TPA AD. And I'm watching half the time. It's somebody wins an award, they win a Sundance, their short film wins some bullshit pretentious award somewhere, and suddenly they're giving a huge budget with a cast, and they don't even know what the hell they're doing. Or
Right.
every day they got a bunch of like producers, sometimes even 2 or 3, are butchering divisions and sitting
it's
there in
down
front
to
of the
the
monitor.
edit too. Like just
Yeah.
me, I've worked some commission edit jobs before, and the notes you get back whenever you will say, I gave, I was doing a music video and I gave them 5 re-edit options. If they didn't like it, I'd edit it 5 times. They took up all those, and then they took up more because I was nice enough to provide it to them. But they were down to the fucking second, like more of this here, more of this here. And I was like, dude, you're only paying me like $175.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of my time you think you've bought, but this is way I'm giving you way more. But so even at a small level, the money always decides what happens with the end product, unless you are able to do it yourself and not require money.
Right.
Which takes a lot of wheeling
then
and
allow
dealing.
me to bring a different flip side of it. So last week I saw 2 movies. I saw Ant-Man, big budget film, flair, everything. Then I went and saw Pooh, Blood and Honey. Okay. The movie had what, $125,000 budget, but it actually got released wide because of the buzz. And it got released as a Fathom event. The movie made over $1 million.
Wow.
What kind of movie is it?
It's a slasher.
It's a slasher movie.
Yeah,
Wow.
It's I don't know if you've seen the trailers or not, but
I haven't.
the premise is really simple.
Yeah.
It's here's the background. The guy said, "Oh, Winnie the Pooh is now on public domain. I'm going to make it a horror movie."
Yeah.
That's it.
And that's it. So the movie is a slasher of a half breed of Winnie the Pooh and Piglet going around murdering these women.
Yeah,
Are
it's
you
a real.
serious?
I'm
What?
dead serious.
Yeah.
And that's it, right? They said it. That's
it. That's the premise of the movie.
Yeah.
And
And
I
the
can
same
tell you
people
this.
did the Grinch, right?
No,
Yeah, they did.
no, these
It wasn't
aren't the same people.
Oh, it's not.
No,
They're doing
Oh, okay.
Bambi.
no, they're
Yeah.
doing Bambi and they're doing Peter Pan. These
Oh my
groups.
God.
Yeah, because they got the public domain. They can do whatever the fuck they want. It's public domain. And I'm going to give you, like I said, a short little review of it. They don't lean in on the schlockiness that they could. They went very serious with it,
which is stupid.
I mean, it's so serious. There's a scene, I kid you not, where it looked like Christopher Robin was getting whipped as bad as Jesus was in the movie The Passion of the Christ.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
Yeah, he's just straight up just getting whipped. And I'm like, whoa. Luckily, I was in the theater that there was maybe like 10 people, 5 that went with me.
Yeah.
And the rest of the people, we just riffed on it and it was fun.
Yeah.
But
Fucking, I can't
But
even.
again, it made over $1 million. It was the second highest movie last week.
Yeah,
So we need
I saw
to
that
get
'cause I-
together and make some kind of movie.
You know, it couldn't beat out Channing Tatum's dancing around with his dick.
Magic Mike.
But it
actually
did
not
beat
very
Avatar
good.
2 for the week.
Yeah.
God.
So again, and I could tell one, because if you read the credits, written and directed by the guy, the music's by the guy, produced by the guy.
Yeah.
No budget, basically.
That's
but it
how
got a wide release.
Frank
What else is what else is fucking available? Let's do one, guys.
Let's
What
do
do we
one.
got? What's the fucking story that's old?
So I will tell you
Rapunzel,
this.
is that, can we do that
Rapunzel?
one?
I'm recording a podcast tomorrow with the group that went with me to see it.
Wow.
And we're gonna dissect Pooh, Blood, and Honey. And the thing is, it's got one of the greatest openings ever. You can watch the clip on YouTube.
Is that what you sent me, John
That's
Paul?
what I sent you. Yeah, it's an
Hang
animated
on, I'll play
clip.
it.
Play it.
Please tell me. Please tell me. Like
The opening is
what?
great. It's a
Yeah.
What
great
is it?
animated thing that
So
you're
this is
like,
the
wow.
He's going to play the opening to the movie here. They released it online for people to.
Oh
get
my god, I'm
pumped
all
up.
about this. I love it.
It's sad.
I
It's
love
sad. Like what you're saying is like when you have such a golden opportunity with this, and it just becomes a hack job. You know,
Yeah,
if I was going to do
It's the
that
flip.
movie, I'd be researching every Winnie the Pooh book written to tie in a million different things and make it a horror. But it sounds like it just substitutes the typical slasher.
It did. They did. But
Yeah.
there was parts that were entertaining. Some of the kills were really cool and inventive.
I'm sure.
Others were like, wow, I've seen
here we go.
Here we go. This is the
Uh-oh.
opening of Pooh, Blood, and Honey.
Young boy named Christopher Robin
Oh, I
came
turned
up a
upon
little
the
bit.
most unusual adolescent
Oh wow, they went balls in. Okay.
breeds, who some would describe as abominations. The creatures introduced themselves as owl, rabbit, Eeyore, piglet, and most importantly, Winnie the Pooh. With the naivety, he brought them food, and with each passing day together, their bond strengthened and grew. The days turned to years, and with the years came maturity. Eventually, Christopher had to make the hard decision to leave his friends to attend college, to become a doctor, requiring them to fend for themselves once more. Then winter arrived. The nights were deathly cold, the land barren and completely devoid of food. One fateful night, on the brink of starvation, Pooh decided that in order to survive, the group must consume one of their dearest friends. And thus, Eeyore was no more. The trauma of this act warped the minds of the group. They became feral and developed a hatred to all
Oh my god.
and in particular, Christopher Robin for abandoning them. A pact was made.
Oh my god.
Their humanity and returned to their animalistic roots, swearing never to talk again.
Ooh.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so they don't talk at all, right?
I'm
Except for
they
towards the
don't.
end.
Isn't there one line? Isn't there
Yeah.
one?
There is one line, yeah.
Because
but
I heard
again,
the guy
it's-
that does Winnie the Pooh's voice do that line.
Wow.
Somebody asked him to do it somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, great opening, right? Doesn't that got you hooked?
Yeah, it is a great opening. Yeah,
That's a great opening. The
Not good?
execution, not so good. But hey, that's just my tease to you. I'm recording on What the Fuck Did I Just Watch?
Is it a Muppet? What is it? What's it look like?
No,
No.
it looks like a man wearing a mask.
Yeah, it's a
Of
giant
Winnie the
fat
Pooh.
guy wearing a Winnie the Pooh
Winnie the
mask.
Pooh, man,
But
yeah.
I will admit I laughed because he walks like this.
Ah,
And
okay,
it's
okay.
absolutely hilarious.
See, I'm wondering if, like, the guy, just knowing production and stuff, like, I'm wondering if the guy shot the movie and someone said, you know, you should have an opening. You know what I mean? Like, because that looks like such a great opening, and then what you're saying is the movie's kind of whatever. But
Yeah, the
I'm wondering if that's what
movie is
happens.
not
Like,
that.
you need,
But I
you need
will
a
tell you-
cool opening, and he did that after he made the movie.
I would not be
Yeah,
surprised if
yeah.
it shows
Yeah.
up on Tubi, our favorite streaming service,
Yeah.
in a
Oh,
month
yeah,
or
for
two.
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it does
Animation
have
is
a
bad
physical
movie.
release coming out from Umbrella Blu-rays, so
Well,
there's that.
it's no Terror Train 2, I'll tell you that.
No, there's no Terror Train 2. That's right.
Oh, wow.
It's like
How
the
can you
Jonah
compete?
Hex animation sequence. That was amazing. The rest of the
Yeah.
movie horrible, but that is. And then Tom McFarlane did the animation for Dangerous Lives of the Altar Boys. You remember that movie? It's
Yeah.
like there's some sick animation movie sequences and really bad movies. It's just
Oh,
Yeah.
you don't like that movie? I thought that was a good one.
which one? What?
Dangerous
Dangerous
Lives
Life.
of
No, I love that. That's a great. I
Yeah.
love that movie. But Jonah Hex,
I can't
not
even-
so much.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
never seen that. I can't remember what happens in Altar Boys either. So
It's a good movie.
I remembered liking it for whatever reason. It's
Yeah,
got
it
a
was a good
Culkin in
movie.
it, right? Got one of them
Yeah.
pesky Culkins.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just wrap it up. You
Wrap
know,
it up. Do you want to rate this movie? Rate Tank Girl?
okay, we'll rate it Tank Girl.
What are you rating it out of?
We're doing
Out
five
of 5.
out of 5 tanks. Out of 5 tanks,
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm giving this 4 tanks.
That's,
1
that's
tank
accurate.
for me.
I'm with Jean
4 for
Paul with
me.
4. Yeah, we got a 4 here too.
I'll give it 3. I didn't remember it, but it was pretty decent, but not a 4
Yeah.
or 5. But I'll give it a 3.
Right. So next time we do a SchlockFest will be in April. And I hope Randy enjoys Meet the Feebles because that's what's up next.
I am excited to watch it.
Feebles. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's a good one. That was ahead of its time.
Great one, great choice. Yeah, that's one of my favorites, man. Oh man, that brings
Nothing
me
like
back.
crossing Muppets and
Right?
Tarantino.
I
This
love
is available.
The crazy
Yeah,
mind of
totally.
Peter Jackson.
You
Oh
can
my
find
God,
this
Peter
thing
Jackson.
everywhere. It's
What
on
is the one? What is the one that Peter Jackson had that was before everything? That's so gross. What am I
Brain
thinking?
Bad taste.
Bad
There
Taste,
we
Taste,
go.
Dead
Bad
Alive.
I just saw
Dead
that again
Alive.
recently and was like, this is the sickest effing movie ever. And it made me appreciate so much how twisted Peter Jackson was in the beginning. How
That
much
would be
I-
Bad Taste, and then he
Yes.
did Dead Alive. But you're
Yeah.
Dead
probably thinking
Alive.
of
That's a
Bad Taste.
masterpiece.
I love
Didn't
Dead
he make
Alive too.
another early movie where a guy had wings that he had made?
I think
Trying. What the fuck was it called? It was Wingnut Films. It was like a comedy
wow.
kind of thing. And I think he made his own wings and he was trying to fucking fly or something. I
That's
can't
so
remember what it was
crazy.
called. Can't remember. But
Wow.
anyways, you can find Meet the Feebles everywhere. I saw it on
Yeah.
Tubi.
It's
It's
on
on
TV for sure.
it's on
Yeah.
YouTube. Like a 4K version is on YouTube. So
Wow.
Wow.
And I
Further
have
links.
my VHS copy of it still.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Hey, if you got a CRT TV, man, pop it in. Just as good as anything else, I always say. And if you're putting a VCR on a fucking HD TV, it looks weird. But
Yeah.
if you put it on a CRT, it looks fucking fine to me. That's how
Yeah,
it's
it
supposed to.
does. Yeah. Great for
Um,
nostalgia.
Yeah. But anyways, anybody have anything else to say before we go?
I saw Consecration, which is for
He's
me.
been pissed about it ever since he saw it.
I'm not pissed. It definitely. I still give it some thumbs up because I laughed. It has one of the best. It has a couple of sequences that I think it's going to become a cult classic because it's so ridiculous. And the last shot, I laughed so loud, like I was crying of laughter. Like it's just such a ridiculous movie that's trying to be the scary nun convent horror movie, and I just was laughing my ass off. And I would see it again just for those couple of scenes where it's so bad. I don't know, man. I know they try, but I'm like, are they secretly trying to like really do kind of like a comedy and they just wink wink? Because it's just Danny Houston is like in full, like, vamping it up. And again, if you watch, you guys have to see because there's 3 sequences.
He's been talking about it to see. I'm gonna have to see it. I've been trying to
You
get
know
back.
what I'm talking about. It's just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Was it in the theater? Where'd you see it?
Yeah, it was in the theater for like 1 week, and I was so bored last week. I saw that. Don't Knock on My Cabin Door, and then
I saw that.
I hated
you
that. I hated
Really,
that.
I liked it. I liked that.
Is that the M. Night Shyamalan one?
Yeah,
That
I
one?
hated it. Ugh.
I heard it was very biblical, and I don't know if I
It was like what I see at the gym every day on every news channel. I'm like, I want to escape from all that. Like,
right.
I want
yeah.
supernatural. It was just like
Frank would hate it for sure.
it was like a Twilight Zone episode. It was a Twilight Zone episode.
It's easy
That's
to
all it
tell
was.
if I would like it or not, to be honest. Is it
It's an outer
dumb?
limit.
Like I've said it
That's all
before.
it is.
The way you can identify if I would like it is question 1, is it dumb as fuck? Question 2, is it like Technicolor gore? Yeah. Does the
No.
paint look like
No.
Yeah, that's what I like.
No, there's
I
no
mean,
gore. If it had some gore, it would have been a little bit.
See, I
But
saw one that I wanted to tell Frank about because I was like, oh my God, you have to, because you're so into gore, and it had unexpected gore
depends.
in it.
Depends.
No, but this was
Not
such
just
a well
gore,
done gore scene.
because
It
I
was
hate
well done.
torture porn. I hate it.
Yeah,
No,
me
no,
too. Me
and
too.
this
That's
is
why I
on.
also didn't like it either. It just was
I watched
borderline
this
torture
movie
porn.
called If You Dig Deep Enough, and it's a psychological horror movie. And I got to tell you, it was really well done. It's done by these people called the Addams Family, and it's a husband, wife, and teenage daughter trio, and they do horror movies. And when I tell you this movie, it's like very, at first I thought it was going to be kind of boring because it kind of drags along, but the subtleties in it are just incredibly done. And it's got one of the best decapitation scenes that came out of effing nowhere I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my
Like
God.
I was so like captivated by this decapitation scene. I rewound it like 3 times. And my husband's terrified of stuff like this, but I was like, look at this. And he was like, why are you showing me that? But I mean, really well done. And just a very creepy, subtle, slow burn psychological thriller. Very well done.
What was it called again?
It's called If You Dig Deep Enough. And it's got this really great scene. You can see it if you like Google it, but it's so well done. Just talking about some of the subtleties of like horror that's like, so well done because it's not gore. It's not, smack you in the face jump scare. But they have a scene where the mother is like having a conversation with her dead daughter. And she's sitting on this log in this forest. And the daughter is like hovering behind her in midair. And it is one of the creepiest sequences I have ever seen done. And so well done and executed. The actors are so natural and organic, probably because they're all family. It's, a mother, a father, and a daughter who are in this movie. They basically produced it, wrote it, directed it. And it's such a well done film. Like beginning to end, I was enraptured by it. Then I watched another movie. Speaking of Culkins, you made me remember this, and I have to throw it out there because I was bitching to you about this. The one about Jack Goes Home. And it has a Culkin in it. It's creepy, very well acted. He goes home and, that mom and dad die in a car accident. He's going through all kinds of shit. The thing I did not like about it, they put random gay scenes in it and never explained it. So I didn't know, like, was he like, did he have sex with the guy? I don't know. Like, why did they do that to me? And so I spent most of the movie trying to contemplate, like, did he have sex with another man or didn't he? Or did he get raped? Like, what happened? And that bothered me more than the fact that his dead mother was coming back to life. So I just want to put that out there that pissed me off on top of it being a Culkin, because I didn't want to like it because of, the Culkins naturally, but, it won me over.
I don't really have a problem with the Culkins, by the way. I kind of enjoy them a little bit.
I do. That's the thing is, like, I do enjoy the Culkins, but they're still the Culkins. You know what I mean? It's still the Culkins. I can't, it is what it is. But anyway,
I just like giving them shit. I mean, honestly.
There's like, what, 7 of them or something like that? And there's a whole bunch of them. There's a whole bunch of them.
There's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, they're no Wayans brothers, but there's a lot of them.
There's no Wayans.
But yeah,
there's no Baldwins, but
yeah, there's no Baldwins.
Oh, there's a shit ton of Baldwins coming out. That woman that's married to Alec Baldwin has 7 goddamn kids. 7. Yeah, poor Alec Baldwin. That's why he's got to keep working. That's why he accidentally shot that bitch on that movie, because he was working too much. I didn't realize.
Too soon.
Yeah.
I'm going for that. Going straight to hell.
Wait, what? I have a question. What's the Rose McGowan movie that Greg Araki Tank Girl made? It was around the same time as Tank Girl, and it's like what Tank Girl should have been, maybe like they go out on the town. What is it?
No, I know what you're talking about, and she plays really sexy, right? Rose
yeah, and it starts off like a popcorn, a robbery in a 7-Eleven, the popcorn machine. The guy gets his head blown off.
Where the Boys Are.
Oh,
right?
that is.
Do you know
that? Are you thinking about?
It's maybe it has a different name, but it's
the 90s. It's around like the
mid-90s.
Is it the
Doom Generation?
The Doom Generation.
The Doom Generation. Oh my God, that's a sick.
That dude made another movie too. What's the other movie he did?
He made a bunch of. He's a pretty sick guy. He's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I watched.
Made me think of Tank Girl. Made me think of Doom Generation. Like, man,
I watched the Doom Generation last year. I hadn't seen it since I was a teenager.
So ahead of its time, man.
Yeah.
I met that guy. I met the guy in it that gets the guy who's also in Donnie Darko is the bunny.
That guy's cool, man.
Really nice guy.
Yeah, whatever the second, not Doom Generation.
There's another one that's more twisted
that has him in it. And at the end, there's like a gay, they're having a threesome.
Yeah, there's some fucked up thing. Yeah,
like some hillbillies come in and shoot him, but I can't remember what that one. No,
that's
called.
The Doom Generation. Right? I think
was that it?
At the end,
there was 2 of them that were like so similar. They both had that dude in them.
Yeah,
and they were both really weird, and one had an alien in it or something.
Yeah.
There are a lot of
I don't know,
stars
but-
today.
Let's wrap up SchlockFest, and
All right.
and we will see you next time.
Cool.
Thanks, guys. It was good seeing you.
Awesome.